Om Namah Pranavartaya Shuddha Jnanaika Murtaye Nirmalaya Prasantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Arunagiri Mupetam Satchidananda Murtim Ramana Yiti Prithivyam Vishrutam Jnana Suryam Gahana Hridaya Vidyam Leelaya Bodhayantam Satatam Aham Ameyam Sadgurum Samsmaran. My pranams. Today is Punarvasu, Bhagavan's Jayanti, 143rd Jayanti. Yesterday is celebrated as Arudra Darshanam. Arudra Darshanam is a festival very special to Tamil Nadu. And in Chidambaram, there is Abhishekam early in the morning on Arudra Darshanam. And we all know that late in the night, the Lord is taken in procession. And that was the time when Bhagavan was born. I will talk about an interesting event about 500 years back on Arudra Darshanam day. Many of you may have heard about Appaya Dikshitar. Appaya Dikshitar is one of the greatest of Advaitins, a great scholar, a poet, an Advaitin, and a great Bhakta. His work on Advaitam is so significant that people say that he is the other Shankara. He has written about 104 great books. One of them is a commentary on Shankara Bhashyam. That is, Shankara wrote a commentary on Brahma Sutram of Vyasa. And 200 years later, a person by name Vachaspati Mishra, he wrote a commentary on this commentary and he called it as Bhamati. He named it after his own wife for a different reason. I will not go into it now. And Bhamati was commented upon by a great person by name Amalananda. He called it as Kalpataru. And for Kalpataru, Appaya Dikshitar has written a commentary. So it is a commentary of commentary of commentary of commentary. He called it as Parimalam. It is one of the landmark works in Advaita Vedantam. But as I said, he was also a great Bhakta. Like Bhagavan, the Bhakti after Jnanam is the sweetest of all Bhaktis. A Jnani, when he talks about Ishvara, he is actually talking about himself. So that's a very sweet kind of a Bhakti. So it is an Ananya Bhakti. Appaya Dikshitara is known for such Bhakti Granthas also. He went to Chidambaram, as I said, about 500 years back. His age is 1520 to some 1579 or something. He went to Chidambaram and on Arudra Darshanam day, he was a witness to the Abhishekam. Nataraja is taken in Chidambaram, many of you may know, and then taken to the 1,000-pillared Mandapam, where this Abhishekam is done early in the morning at about 4 o'clock or so. And it's one of the grandest of festivals in that area, so thousands of people will gather there. In the same place, nearly about 1,000 years back, Periya Puranam was, the Arangetram of Periya Puranam was done by Sekivar. That is the sanctity of that place. Appaya Dikshitar was witnessing the Abhishekam, and the Brahmins were pouring milk, honey, everything, and Chandanam was also poured on the Lord. It was a cold winter night. In fact, Arudra Darshanam day is supposed to be the coldest of winter in Tamil Nadu. It was a very cold night, and Chandanam was being poured on Lord Nataraja. Suddenly, the poet in him took over. Appaya Dikshitar thought about it. Uncommon view is what poets have. We have common view. They have uncommon view about the whole thing. So immediately, verse came out of his mouth. Maulau Ganga Sasankau Karacharanatale Shitalanga Bhujangaha Vame Bhage Dayardra Himagiris Duhita Chandanam Sarvagatre. He is describing the experience of the Lord. He is imagining the experience of the Lord. He says, Maulau Ganga, I see waters in the head. Mauli is the crown of the head. Maulau in the crown of the head. He is bearing the icy waters of Ganga. Shashankau is moon. Moon is also a cool thing. Karacharanatale Shitalanga Bhujangaha, all over the body. Shitalam is cold. Shitalanga is cold-blooded creatures, snakes, Bhujangaha. They are crawling all over his body. Vame Bhage Dayardra Himagiri Duhita. Himagiri is Himalaya. Duhita is daughter. So he has given his left side, whole of left side, to Parvati, Himagiri Duhita. That is the daughter of the coldest place, one of the coldest places on earth. And what is she like? She is Dayardra. This Ardra Nakshatram is also connected with, very cleverly, he uses the word. Ardra actually means wet, moist. Jaganmata, she is dripping with daya for all her children. So the entire left side is the daughter, Duhita. Duhita is daughter. Actually, daughter must have been derived from the word Duhita. The H in daughter is a giveaway that it is derived from Duhita. So she is the daughter of Himavan, and she is dripping in compassion to the whole world. And you are having that on your left side. So he is thinking about that. And then he says, added to all these things, now they are pouring Chandanam on you, which is again a cooling thing. So the Lord must be experiencing such an intense cold, he thought. This poet thought, he must be experiencing an intense cold. Ittam, Sheetam, Prabhutam, Tava, Kanaka Sabhanada, Sodhum Kvasaktihi, he says, Ittam, Sheetam, Prabhutam, this intense cold, how are you able to bear? Kanaka Sabhanata, Chidambaram is Kanaka Sabha. As you all know, there are 5 sabhas. Kanaka Sabha is Chidambaram. Rajata Sabha, the silver. Kanakam is gold. The golden stage is Chidambaram. The silver stage is Madurai, where Bhagavan used to go and stand before that Nataraja. In Madurai, you will find Nataraja in a different posture. Normally, the left leg is lifted up in all Nataraja statues. But there, the right leg is lifted up and the left leg is stamped on the ground. And for a particular story is there for that. That is Rajata Sabha. And near Chennai, there is a place known as Thiru Alangadu. I don't know whether any of you have gone to that place. It is connected with Karaikal Ammayar. That is known as Ratna Sabha. And in Tirunelveli, the Sabha where Nataraja is dancing, that is known as Tamra Sabha, copper stage. And in Kutralam, the Sabha is known as Chitra Sabha, because there is a great big painting of Nataraja there, which is what is worshipped. So these are the 5 Sabhas. Kanaka Sabha Natha, he is addressing Kanaka Sabha Natha. And he says, how are you able to bear this cold? Ittam, Sheetam, Prabhutam, Tada Kanaka Sabha Natha, Sodum Pashakti. Sodum is to bear. How are you able to bear this cold? Is the question that he is asking. And the answer comes in a flash to him. His understanding comes in a flash to him. The poetic beauty is the context is suddenly switched in an unexpected turn. You get a reply to this. You do not expect this answer at all. And he is answering his own question. How are you able to bear this cold? Then he says, I know how you are able to bear this cold, my Lord, because you are residing in my mind all the time. Chitte nirveda tapte yedi bhavati nate nityavaso madiye. Nityavasam, permanent residence. You have taken in my mind, which is nirveda tapte, which is like a furnace with all the desires raging, the passions raging in my mind, all the dukkham, all the suffering, everything has made my mind a furnace, and you are deriving warmth from residing in my mind, he says. Actually, all the build-up about the cold is only to reach this conclusion that he never leaves us even for a minute. He is with us, only we don't notice. இமைப்பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ்வாழ்க, says Manikavachagar in Sivapuranam. He says, இமைப்பொழுதும், not even for the time it takes for you to blink, even for that duration, you are not absent. You are with me all the time. So, we are never apart from him. We can never be apart from him. He says that you are in my mind, in my heart all the time, and my mind is like a furnace, like a hot cauldron, and you are deriving the warmth from my mind, and you are able to survive this cold. That is the way he finishes the thing. But the truth is that we can never be apart from him. That is what he wants to drive home. In one of his essays, Arthur Osborne makes a brilliant statement. He says, it's not a question of whether there can be a God apart from you. It's not a question of whether there is a God apart from you. Rather, it is a question of whether there can be a you apart from God. Can there be a you apart from God? Can we ever be without God? If you are without God even for a minute, even if you are able to imagine for a second that we are without God, is it possible for us to survive? This way Bhagavan says in Aksharamavali, Sera Yanin, Mei Nira Urihi, Kannira Trivena Runachala. I will drown in my own tears if I feel your separation even for a second. Sera Yanin. May Nira Urihi. I believe when Bhagavan recited this slokam, this Aksharamavali verse, from all the pores of his body, I believe water came out. It was like a flood. Pinjuswami says, he was with him at that time, he was writing the thing, that place is known as Bhagavan's culvert, even today. Of course, now with all the development around the Girivalam, we don't easily locate that culvert. I believe he wrote there, and from the entire body, I believe, it poured. He did not even, it was not only from his eyes that tears came, from the whole body, because imagining a separation from Arunachala, even imagination for a second made that we cannot be apart from him. And that is what Appaya Dikshidhar seems to say in this particular verse. Now, the way in which poets are able to handle or present a viewpoint which is so different from the normal viewpoint is what makes poetry a beautiful thing. In Shivananda Lahari, in one place, Adi Shankara says, I will not quote the entire verse, 2 lines. Kapalin Bhiksho Me Hridaya Kapim Atyanta Chapalam. Kapi is a monkey. My mind of a monkey. Adi Shankara says this, my mind is like a monkey. Atyanta Chapalam, it cannot take rest even for a second. It keeps on oscillating, jumping from one place to the other place. Dridam Bhaktya Badhva, bind me with the rope of bhakti to you and keep me with you. Shiva, Tavadhinam Kuru Vibho, like that it ends actually. Binding the mind by bhakti and then keeping it with the Lord is a very common statement that all the poets make. That is not what is interesting about these 2 lines. What is interesting is the 2 words that he uses in the beginning, Kapalin Bhiksho. Bhiksho is somebody who is going begging for alms. So he is envisaging Shiva as a mendicant, Bhikshadana, who is going around asking for alms from all around the place. Kapalin, in those days, they used to take the skull. All the mendicants, they will take the skull as the begging bowl and then go around and ask for bhiksha. It is to remind you all the time that you are only going to be this at some point in time, or in order to give that feeling, they carry the skull to beg alms. Start commenting on this. Kanchi Paramacharya says, he uses the word bhiksha for a reason. Bhiksho, oh beggar, mind me to you, the monkey of my mind to you, he says. What it means is, when you go alone for bhiksha, you may or you may not get any bhiksha. Nobody may even notice you because we are going alone. But if you are taking a monkey along with you, the whole thing changes. You can make this monkey do tricks. And then when I jump around with you, up and down, here and there, in the olden times in our villages, we used to find people, like that, taking a monkey along and then, make the monkey dance around. So when you are able to do that, oh Shiva, then you will get more bhiksha. People will come to see this particular entertainment and, they will feel like giving you more bhiksha. So you are going to be benefited. I am also going to be benefited because I am going to be with you all the time. This is the kavitvam, the chamatkaram they say about the beauty of poetry is that Muruganar has a lot of such tricks up his sleeve. Throughout his Sannidhi Murai, you will find Muruganar, employing all these methods of, bringing out an uncommon truth. He wanted to talk about Bhagavan's, when he came to Arunachalam, his achalatvam, the stillness of Bhagavan. Bhagavan's whole body would be still. The eyes also will not move. The eyes will be just staring into the space. There'll be no blinking. The eyes will be so totally arrested. That kind of a stillness, very rare to see in anybody. And he was alert all the time, not as though that he was not alert about what was going on. He was able to say that so-and-so dancing girl came and then gave me food. But he was totally still at that time. They used to open his mouth and put some food in his mouth and so on and so forth. And when the Swami was not opening his mouth, that young girl, I think her name was Rajamba or some such thing, Ratnamba, she told her mother, saying that, please help me. I'm not able to give. She took a vow that unless Swami eats, I will not eat. That kind of vow. She used to get her mother to help her in, feeding Swami. So mother used to say, this Swami is not even opening his mouth. Even if we put some food in his mouth, when we come the next day, look at it, the food is still there. I believe it will be only half eaten. The other half will still remain there. So they employed a cousin whose job was only to shake the Swami, because these two being the girls, they could not do it. She used to scold her daughter. Why are you doing this? What kind of a stupid vow that you have taken? That you will not eat unless the Swami eats. He is not interested in eating. We are wasting our time. So they employed a cousin of hers whose job was to shake him, and then when he becomes awake, then they will put some food in his mouth. It seems the cousin's mother and parents, they scolded him. What? You are a useless guy? You don't have any other job except to go and then shake somebody there? Some beggar is sitting in some place. You have to shake it. Are you not ashamed of doing this job? So he stopped coming. So, Bhagavan used to describe all this. He used to hear. He used to register. But it was only in one corner of his consciousness. He was totally absorbed in that. These are all like scenes. Like sometimes we remember the movies that we saw some 10 years back, we recollect, it was all like that. It was like that. So Muruganar wants to say that this achalatvam, this immobile nature, this stillness that we see in Bhagavan, how do I describe this? So there are two lines in Thiru Anda Pagadi. There he says, Amma Adishayam. What a marvel this is. Amma Adishayam. Achalanum Nana. Then he adds, Achalanum Nana means even Arunachala is ashamed of himself. Your Achalatvam is so marvelous. It has put even Arunachala to shame. Arunachala is thinking, I believe, all along I have been thinking that I represent the Achalatva Tattvam. I am the foremost in Achalatva Tattvam. but this boy has beaten me to it. Amma Adisayam. How do I describe this? He says, Summa Adidalor Sorupam Polum. The next line, Summa Irupade Sorupam Polum. That stillness, that Summa Iru, that kind of a thing, if it has taken a shape, it will be like our Bhagavan, he says in these two lines. So these are all the ways they have really experienced Bhagavan, and they have come out with such marvelous poems. In one other place, Muruganar, this is known as a chapter known as Tiruchazhal. Manikavachakar has also composed Tiruchazhal. There are about 30 songs, I think, in Tiruchazhal. In one of the songs, the type of the poetry is such that there are two groups of people. One group of girls, they'll be singing something, asking a question, and the other group, or maybe a single person, she answers that question. The question is asked. Group of girls, they know that one of the girl is in love with somebody. So they try to tease her because she is in love with somebody. Normally, this is what girls do. They want to tease her. The way of teasing her is making her angry by insulting the hero, by saying something unpalatable about her own love. They try to provoke her and then try to get a response from her. So this particular thing is known as Tiruchazhal. And there is one verse which is extraordinary. Actually, Kanakammal talked about this in the Kentram. He's also written about it. Incidentally, today is Kanakammal's Aradhana day also. As we all know, when the Abhishekam was going on, in the Sannidhi, she took her own and, she suddenly collapsed. They all thought she was prostrating, but she had collapsed and she left her body there on the Jayanti day. So Kanakammal says that Muruganar's writing, Muruganar's imagination is so beautiful. She says, the first set of girls, they are asking this question as though to insult Bhagavan, because they know this girl is in love with Bhagavan. Kurai payindra sei tavattu kurai mudippa nallal Tarai payindru Vengadavan tan charippa dennedi. Vengadavan, that's the way she refers to Bhagavan. Vengadavan. There is some incompleteness in your Ramana. He has not completed something in his Purva Janmam. He has not completed everything. He is continuing to do some tapas. Tapas is not complete. Why? Because I see him walking barefoot without any footwear. He is walking barefoot on thorns and then on rocks and other things. So he is still continuing to do some tapas. Why is this? Why are you so much fond of this Ramana? Yennedi, can you answer this? One set of girls, they ask this question, and the girl who is in love with Bhagavan, she says, don't be foolish. She gives an answer. Tarai payindru Venkadavan tan charittal palyugamai Tarai payindra tavappayanai tandidakkan sadalo. She says, don't be foolish. It is not to complete his tapas that he is walking barefoot. He is trying to complete the tapas of Bhuma Devi, the mother yet. Palyugamai, she has been waiting for his father's parisham for eons and eons. She is doing tapas because all the avatars, they come in their vahana. They will be having some vahanam or the other. There is no possibility of touching their divine feet. Last time, this God has come and he is walking barefoot. And in order to complete her tapas, that he is walking barefoot on the ground, and not because there is something lacking in him. What a beautiful way of putting it. Bhagavan's walking barefoot is a thing that everybody talks about, because one thing is the rocks in Arunachalam, so very hard, it's impossible to walk. And he would never use any footwear, never take any protection at all. Thorns in the forest area. Once his friend Rangan was walking with Bhagavan, his childhood friend, his classmate. He was walking with Bhagavan in the forest area, and suddenly there was a thorn going into Rangan's feet. So he cried out. Bhagavan, who was going a little ahead, he stopped and asked him, "What is the matter?" He said, "Thorn has gone." "Oh, sit down," he said. He made the Rangan sit down. "Show me your leg." And then he took the thorn out of the leg. Rangan was protesting, "No, no, no, Bhagavan." But Bhagavan made him sit and then took the thorn out. Then they started walking again. Then Rangan saw Bhagavan stepping on a thorn, but walking. "No, no, no, Bhagavan, stop, stop, stop. Let me take out the thorn." When he said this, it seems Bhagavan said, which thorn will you take out? The old one or the new one? He did not understand. Then Bhagavan smiled and sat down and showed his soul. I believe entire place was full of thorns, covered with thorns. He used to step on a thorn and just, break the thorn and walk on by moving his leg. This is what Rangan writes in his reminiscences. I was shocked to see that there were so many thorns. Some of them had gone inside. That was the level of Bhagavan's lack of body consciousness. Nothing at all. Body consciousness was when somebody went and asked Bhagavan, is it right to walk with a chappal for Giri Pradakshinam? People are discouraging me. They said they should not do that. Then it seems Bhagavan said, the entire body is a leather only. You are carrying that. If you want to add one more piece of leather to that leather, what is the problem? The way he is able to look at things, the kind of answers that he gives, you're adding another piece of leather to the one that is already there. Not taking the body to be anything at all, as something that is of any significance. That was the greatness of Bhagavan. Kanakamba has recorded one more incident not about walking barefoot, but something else. It seems two Brahmin boys whose job it was to take dead bodies to the crematorium, carry the dead bodies. Those olden days they used to put that on a wooden plank. They used to carry the dead bodies, and these two Brahmin boys' job was only to carry the dead bodies to the crematorium. And one day the cremation took a very, very long time. These two young boys, they had not had their lunch. They were ravenously hungry. Once the cremation was over, both of them were going back. And one of them said, "I am not able to walk because I am absolutely hungry. I cannot even take another step." Then he said, "Ramanashramam is there. Let us go. There'll be some food there. Let us eat." The other person said, "No, no, no, no. There is pollution. We have carried a dead body. How can we get into Ramanashramam? And you are saying that go and then eat food. You have to take our bath and then only have food. I don't have any energy. I will die if I do not go and take some food." So he dragged the other man and both of them went into. And before going into the kitchen, they wanted to peep into the meditation hall and then look at Bhagavan. Bhagavan was there. He smiled at them. Looking at these two people, the entire hall, they knew what their job was. One can very easily make out. And the person, the moment he saw the one who did not want to take food, he blurted out the whole thing because he could not really, he could not hide the thing from Bhagavan. Bhagavan, we are people who carry corpses. We have not taken bath. And both of us are very hungry. I am saying that we have to take bath before taking food, whereas this man is saying he's so hungry that he cannot wait to take bath and then take food. He's so hungry. Which one of us is right? He asked Bhagavan. The young boy, he asked Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, "Are we all not carrying our corpses all the time? Are we not carrying our corpses all the time? Are we polluted? Are we not taking food? We are carrying. So what is wrong? Go and have food." So his view of what we think is normal And what Bhagavan, the way Bhagavan looks at, that is the most unusual thing. Muruganar has written a number of poems. Even in Tiruchadal, there are so many poems which bring the beauty. And so in one of the verses, the one set of girls, they ask the other one, if you are saying that Bhagavan is God, where is his Vahanam? If he is God, you should have a Vahanam. Where is his Vahanam? He does not have any Vahanam at all. So I don't agree with you when you say that he is God. Just to tease her, she says again, don't be foolish. He carries the entire universe. Who can carry him? He is carrying the entire universe. He is the one who is, holding up the whole universe. And then to think of somebody who can carry him is just foolish. Like that, it goes on. So, as I said, the beauty of such poetry is the way in which you give a totally different picture, a totally an unexpected context to the whole thing that brings out the beauty of the whole thing. We say that this exaggeration in, the English poetry, they say this poetic exaggeration. In Sanskritam, the same thing is known as Atishayokti. And in Tamil, they use the word Ani. Ani is actually ornamentation. So you beautify the poem by such views, uncommon views. Kavyakanta, I will quote Kavyakanta before I complete my lecture. Kavyakanta, these 40 verses were collected by Bhagavan because he wanted to write 100 verses in the beginning. He had a sankalpam of writing 100 verses, Kavyakanta. But he used to take breaks. Unlike Muruganar, who stayed with him all the time, suddenly he will get an idea, I should go do tapas in that place and then go away. But he would compose poetry and then send it to Bhagavan. Even during his last months in staying in Shri, he used to write letters to Bhagavan, and then each one of the letters will have a poem. Bhagavan used to collect all of them. He was the one who kind of picked them all up together and actually sequenced them also. Bhagavan sequenced the Chatvarimsad the way we are reciting in Bhagavan's presence today. The number 1 verse to number 40th verse, Bhagavan only. He used to remember this verse is there in so-and-so notebook. He wrote it at so-and-so time, and then that would be added and then put together in the thing. When all this was going on, Natesha Iyer, who was the one who was with Kavyakanta and who helped a lot in bringing out all the complete works of Bhagavan, he said there is one more verse which is not available in Ramanashramam, and he showed that verse. Then Bhagavan asked, how did you get this verse? Because he has not written it anywhere. And then he said, no, this was written by him in Arvindashramam. It seems Arvindashramam, the mother, she heard about Kavyakanta's, poetic capabilities, and she wanted him to write, just as he has written something about Bhagavan, she wanted him to write about Shri Aurobindo. So that was the purpose of going there. And also because they had all known that he translated the beautiful Tamil verses, Nulladu Narpadu, and then he translated them into, extraordinary Sanskrit poetry. We call it as Saddarshanam. Darshanam is actually the way we refer to our philosophical systems. There are 6 darshanas that we have, the Yoga Margam and the Nyayam, Vaiseshikam, like that. Each one is known as a darshanam. Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, like that it goes. Sankyam. Each one is a darshanam. So he called it as Sad Darshanam beautifully. And then he translated that. So knowing that, mother in Shri Aurobindo Ashram, she wanted Kavya Kanta to translate one of the works of Shri Aurobindo known as Savitri. It's one of the greatest works of Aurobindo. She wanted him to translate it to Sanskrit. For that reason, they went there. He called him there. He was there for some time. He also started translating, and some other portions were also completed. But then, when the manuscript was presented to Aurobindo Ashram, the beginning was a praise of Bhagavan. Though he was writing in Aurobindo Ashram, he wanted to make it very clear to them that his guru is Ramana. I would like to do something for you, but remember, my guru is Ramana. That was the bhavam that he wanted to convey. Vande Shri Ramanarshehe Acharyasya Padabjam Yome Darshayadisham Bhantam Dvantam Aditya. And when Bhagavan saw this, he wanted to know from Natesh Iyer, what is the source of this verse? Then it seems Natesh Iyer said, no, this was composed in Shri Aurobindo Ashram. Oh, is that so? Then he said, let this be the Dhyana Shlokam for the Chatvarim. So he included in the very first verse. That shows the Guru Bhakti of Kavya Kanta. So the 39th verse in Chatvarim is an extraordinary verse. Tad Bhagadeyam Asamanam Anekamoni Vasarjitam Chitibritaha Kalu Lohitasya Angichakara Bhagavan Ramano Maharshihi Anyeshu Satsu Yadidam Bhagushu Staleshu. That's how it ends. What he says is Tad Bhagadeyam. Arunachala, you are a Bhagyavan. You must have done a lot of punyam, Arunachala. He say, Arunachala, you must have done a lot of punyam. That is why our Bhagavan chose you to come and stay with you. Angi Chakara Bhagavan Ramano Maharshi, he says, he has given approval to you. And he has given approval to you because he is so very appreciative of the fact that you sheltered thousands of great sages, Asamanam Anekamonihi, Asamanam, matchless jnanis, you have sheltered all through these ages. So he wants to appreciate your work, and that's why he has chosen you. He had so many other sthalam to choose from. He could have gone to Madurai, he could have gone to Chidambaram, he could have gone to some other place, he could have stayed in Madurai, but he came here only because he is very appreciative of you. And he is telling that to Arunachala. Tad Bhagadeyam Asamanam Anekamonihi Vasarjitam Chitibritaha Kalu Lohitasya. Lohita is red. Chitibritaha is a mountain, red mountain. He has come to Arunachalam just to honor you. And so this is the 39th verse, and Bhagavan has sequenced it. And the final verse is Shantir Nitantam Adhika Paramasya Shakti Vairagyam Adbhutatamam Karunatu Sandra Jnanam Nirastakuhanam Madhuram Chavrittam Nrinam Nidarshanamayam Ramano Maharshihi. He says, he sets an example to the entire mankind. All of us should follow the example of Bhagavan. He is standing out. And there is no comparison at all. The way in which we have to live our lives, he has shown this. Just by following him, we will be able to get to that stage as Bhagavan. That's how he ends the Chatvarimsha. So with that, I will conclude today's program. Thank you.